Hello, welcome back to Color and Canvas. Today I am going to be pouring over this painting. This was an experiment in thin paints and overstretching, and we learned a lot from this experiment, but the resulting painting is not great, so we're pouring over it. This is a 20 by 20 inch canvas, and I've attached it to a turntable so that I can spin it because I'm going to be doing a circular Dutch pour, which means we're going to be blowing all the paint out from the middle. Now, the last Dutch pour that I did with this, there was silicone in the paint that was on the base coat because it was a failed pour that had silicone in it, and we just blew it out and the result was beautiful. So I want to see whether we can recreate that again today. So our paints, which you can see are my pre-mixed paints, and most of these bottles are quite empty. So I'm going to use up all the colors that I can to fill our cup, and I'm actually going to do a ring pour. And then we're going to blow out the ring pour and see what we can get out of all of that, okay? That is the plan. Just grabbing some more paint because there's really not a lot left here. And tomorrow I get to mix paint again, so yay for that. The color that I'm not putting in right now is black because that's going to be our blowout color. And the white, which is not in a squeeze bottle, I have added silicone to. So it's the OGX Coconut Milk Hair Serum. That's what I use for my silicone. And so in this little cup I've added, I'd say 5 or 6 drops to it. And it's going to work out just fine. That will be the only silicone that we add. I'm not adding any more to this pour. So the paints that I'm using that are in these bottles are mixed with my pouring medium blend, and which is 50% Floetrol, 30% Gluol, and 20% water. And that's what all of these paints are mixed with. So I'm going to fill this cup with paint, silicone only being in the white, and then we're going to do a ring pour, and then we're going to blow it out. And let's just have some fun with these colors. All right, so here we go. We're going to do a really ugly ring pour, and I say ugly because we're not looking for a ring. It's all going to get mixed together, and that silicone is going to make cells everywhere. And look at that. Fabulous, exactly what we wanted. Just cells all over the place. Get rid of some of those air bubbles. You can see them coming through from the white paint. That white paint is air bubble central, but that's okay because all of those are going to get taken care of later. So, whoops, it's still a little bit wet. I think I'm just going to spin it just a little and let that paint spread out on its own rather than tilting it. I can pick up the whole thing, but everything's attached. So tilting it could be a little bit tricky. I think I will tilt just a bit. If you saw how many things I had attached to this turntable just so that I can put a 20-inch canvas on it. You would absolutely laugh. And so part of how this is going to work is every part of the painting is going to have different colors and different amounts of silicone on it. And that's what we're after. We just want a really, really random configuration of paint and cells and movement and all that other good stuff. So it's got so much weight on it, it's barely spinning. Well, we're not going to be able to count on this for spinning, so let's just, I think I'm just going to spread out some of that paint because the hairdryer is going to do a lot of the work for us. So let's just get this paint to the edges. And this way we waste less paint too, rather than having the blow dryer, you know, knock a half a gallon of paint off. We're just using what we need and trying to be a little bit frugal with it. See, we had the silicone just in the white, and look at all the cells that you can see on these little areas that it's been spread out. It's just incredible what a few drops will do even on a canvas this size. Okay, this is good. So step number 2 is, what are we putting in the middle? So in the middle, I have white. I'm just going to drizzle a tiny bit. This is Amsterdam white. Where is it? Amsterdam white. I've mixed it equal parts paint, Floetrol, paint and Floetrol equal parts, and then half a part of water to that, and that's very thin. And the major player is going to be this black, and that is mixed the same way. It's the Amsterdam black mixed with Floetrol and water. And then something that I hadn't planned to add, but I'm going to at the last second, is this Aquamarine Metallic by Folk Art. And again, mixed with Floetrol and water to a very, very thin consistency. And then I'm going to use the same blue that we used before. So let's have some fun. Here goes. I'm going to put a puddle of black right in the middle. And I'm trying to remember how I did this last time. And so last time I poured some blue around the edges of the puddle of black, and that's what I'll do again. So we'll do some of our metallic, a little bit of our white. Oops, maybe more white than we needed, but that's okay. And then some of our dark blue. And I may put that in between and around. And 24 karat gold. Let's not forget. Deco Art 24 karat gold mixed with Floetrol and water in my bottle. And I'm going to put that through the whole thing. Just a big circle of this beautiful gold over top of all of it, and then more black. And this is going to be what we blow out. Let's just get it all on there while we're at it. Let's get this centered a little bit. As you can see, it wasn't quite centered in the middle, and you at least want to begin with it somewhere close to the center. So let's cross our fingers, get out the hairdryer, and see what happens. Here we go. Low setting, low heat and low air setting. So that looks really, really cool. It's pretty much all purple and blue at this point, and I really like it. But I'm wondering whether we have way too much paint in the middle. And so I will fix up those sides in a minute, but let's tilt this. And we can see there's some movement of paint. Okay, change of plan here. That purple that we put into the ring pour, look how it's gone through everything, and I just don't love the way that it's blending with the other colors. So let's put some more colors down and give it one more try. All of those colors that are there are going to go through and, you know, blend in with these colors that we're putting on. So let's look for a brighter result. I think the red is really going to add to it a lot. We're going to keep with the 24 karat gold. Even though we put a lot on, it seems like it's a major player. I just want it to blend in with the other colors throughout and give them that nice shine, and a few little spots of bright gold I think are going to add to it immensely. So a little bit more white. Accidentally, I used the white with silicone. As you can see, there's just a few drops, so it's not going to do too much to it. And then we'll put in our thinned out Amsterdam white, which always makes cells. So let's see how we do with this. We'll blow it out one more time and get some brighter colors this time around. Here we go. All right, here we go. Take two. We can do it. We can make it. That's better. I'm going to tilt it just a bit. See if I can get that black part centered a little bit. It's not moving. There's hardly any paint left on here. If we can move it just a bit, I'll be happier, but we may not be able to center it any more than what it is, so let's just not mess it up. Let me get my straw. Take care of all the little edges that didn't quite get there, like that one right there. If I could get the black to move over just a bit. Don't want to mess it up though. It's the last thing you want to do is when something turns out so cool is to mess it up. And so I think it's a bit more symmetrical, and I think we're just going to have to accept it the way that it is, because doing anything more to it would just be a disaster. I'm so happy that I did the second layer. It's so much better. Well, I think we did okay. It dried beautifully. It's varnished and hanging on my wall, and I'll show you the dried picture of it right at the very end of the video. And thank you for watching, and please go and paint something beautiful for yourself. Bye-bye.